Fire Force. Let's start Fire Force.
Fire Force is great. I think Fire Force is going to continue to be great. It's kind of hard to like put into sort of some unique review every week without like spoiling too much for people who haven't necessarily watched or know too much about what's going to go on after this episode, because this is the beginning of like a really cool, as we've already been teased by
the opening,
the ending. Yeah, the opening and the ending. Like this is going to be like a really cool arc, which is I enjoy a lot, because now we're starting to like get all the different factions playing against each other, and you get matchups that you didn't think about, and you get a lot of new characters or new abilities and stuff like that. So it's just it was animated well, and the music was good, and like Charon came back, and he's like, I love the way that they've animated him and the voice actor and everything else. Like he was still like a cool character like in the manga, but like in motion, I just think he's really awesome. And to see him go 1v1 with oh fuck, what is the guy's name with the smoke? Why am I forgetting?
Kurono.
Yeah, Kurono. To see him go 1v1 and like did actually kind of give me like minor league goosebumps, because I'd forgotten about that part. So it's really cool. So I just really like the episode overall.
Yeah, I like the episode. I like Licht basically saying I won't be outdone in a nerd fight.
Oh, right.
That was my favorite fucking quote of the week right there. That was some good shit. The poot poot blasters, Kurono's eyes when they like looked like the Kishin
when they were rolling around.
Yeah, when they were rolling, I was like, bruh, if this is not literally like this character literally is like Soul Eater fan service.
He could fit in Soul Eater.
I can see that too, yeah.
Even like his like mania about like only wanting to pick on the weak. Like if you just substituted like that character in somewhere in a Soul Eater like mini arc or something, he would be completely, even his powers and everything else would have been like completely they would have fit there with no problem, no editing, no nothing.
Yeah. And then my other favorite part was the mecha launch sequence at the end of the episode. That shit was so exact.
I don't even know if all that was in the manga. I don't remember that.
I would be surprised if it were. When that shit started happening, I was like, are we getting a mecha launch? Like full on Gundam fucking Star Driver intro bullshit. Like, oh my god, they're really doing this with the special music for it and shit. Yep. Also,
with like, the launch ramp like extending out of the building.
Launch ramp. Oh my god, I was like, bruh, these niggas are having so much fun editing, animating this shit.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that like this arc in general, maybe like after the. So what are we on? We're on episode 16, 15 of technically of season 2.
Yeah.
And if season 1 was 2 core, so around like episode 13 of season 1, I feel like everyone involved in the production just settled in to having a lot of fun, and that's what I feel like Fire Force has been. Since visually, audio, conceptually, it's just like a ton of fun.
I mean, like, even the voice, like the comedy elements, like when Maki was speaking to Homegirl, and like they kept agreeing with each other over Vulcan. That's right. And I was just like, why is this funny though right now? Like, wait a second, like y'all shouldn't be kikiing. Like,
and the Hydra people, like they're evil, but they're not actually like played up to be that evil. Like they're kind of like goofy at the same time that they're doing despicable shit.
Well, what I'm getting is that because I was already under the impression that Hajime and the White Clads were like together, like they knew it. But now I'm like, oh no, like these niggas don't fuck with these niggas either.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well here we go. Here we fucking
go. Like anytime
go.
you have that, like, oh, we might put aside our differences to deal with this person or that person. It's kind of, even if in the end it turns out that. In fact, like, you know, they're enemies, they're bad guys, you gotta deal with them. I think it adds layers to otherwise, like, one-dimensional characters, right? Because even in the comedy, that's maybe one thing that Fire Force doesn't get enough credit for, is that with a lot of the minor factions, the minor characters, the minor whatever, there are often these times where you get more layers added to characters that would not otherwise have much of a spotlight, and it's done pretty efficiently. So whether you're going back and looking at like the various captains, you know, they don't get a lot of screen time, but every time they have a scene, they're adding something some weirdness or some like ideological explanation. Like in this episode, the doll user from Hajima got like 2 minutes to basically talk through her entire ideology, the way she sees the world. Right? Because at first, when she's like controlling the Dominion, and she starts talking about how like children are no different than machines, and they're just the pawns of adults, and that in her own twisted way, like she thinks that like being able to control children is what's best for them. And so in the beginning, you're like, whatever, and then it sets up by the end, especially when she talks with homeboy about like their difference of belief about how even like naming of the mecha and like what that means. That just sets up like a nice little ideological clash between two characters where, you know, if the good guys triumph, they're not just beating a person, they're also invalidating their point of view, which is really what like shonen is all about. Even though it's like a lot of shouty teenagers, normally what they're shouting about is, you know, I believe this and you believe that.
My
and I'm
ideology.
with the power. Exactly. So the fact that like Fire Force knows when to take a little bit of time to give you just a little bit or enough more with some of these characters to make their conflicts have a tiny bit more meaning. I know it sounds like I'm damning with faint praise, but I think that
it makes sense because that makes me actually care about the fight.
Right, even if it's a throwaway fight, even if it's a character you never see again, or is canonically like not particularly strong, or is not going to be involved in the primary story, when they are beaten or when they run into a conflict, it has some more meaning than just like we got to fill 5 minutes with like some filler bullshit. Like let's just deal with these people. And the fact that their weirdness, all these characters are like cracked in some way, is unique from character to character. Like Chrono is. You know, his issues have nothing to do with this girl's issues, which have nothing to do with any of like the White Clads or their Guardians like issues, right? You even kind of get the feeling that like Charon really wouldn't be doing any of this if he wasn't so devoted to his role as like being a protector. And then they give you those little moments in the episode where like nobody really is getting along. Like
I thought it was hilarious when Charon was like, "Yeah, Haumea told me to fuck off." So I'm here to protect you.
Yeah. So
like, yeah,
anyway,
I enjoyed
that shit. It's really
okay.
good.